Uncover the chilling truth behind Jen Soto, a saga of deception and danger.
I stayed physically sick until Jen Soto was behind bars. My husband just can't believe the evil monster did this to the beautiful girl. Right. And I have a whole show, y'all. There's a huge show today that has a lot that's going to make you guys pretty grossed out. And we're now thinking that, was she given an alibi? Why was Stephen Stearns dumping Maddie in that area? Well, that's because that's where Jen Soto lived. And guess what? When I say we, boots on the ground folks took a drive from Maddie's memorial to the condo that I gave you the address to earlier where Jen Soto had domestic violence charges.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm sorry. Hi, Jen. Excuse me. I apologize.
You're good. So you're on the show right now, and I guess what I wanted to ask you, I have all of your interview questions you sent me, but if I just want you to make a statement and let people know that you're here and what you think about Jen, and knowing now what you know.
Well, so I am here. I'm obviously a real person. This has been a really tough case, I think, for everybody. I think Jen is probably the most volatile, vile type of human being that could exist. And she's a poor excuse for a person, a poor excuse for a mother. Speaking from somebody with two very special needs.
Oh, sorry, guys. Somebody's honking.
Sorry, I just set my car alarm off.
Okay.
So speaking from Maddie, I don't believe showed signs of autism, but I'm not an MD. I believe that Jen is allegedly complicit. I can't say that I ever saw her strike a hand to Maddie ever, but I believe in my gut that she was complicit and that she knows things that she's not saying. And
right,
that type of woman doesn't deserve a child. She doesn't deserve a life outside of prison bars.
And you
the death penalty.
You were around her, so you know her personality. Like, you've seen her in the interviews and you know her personality, and she's not, I mean, you tell me, does that look like she's scared of Maddie Mithing? What does she look like? You know her personality better than anybody. I never lived with her.
So in the interviews, it's so rehearsed, and I think that anybody that watches them can absolutely guarantee that they're pretty rehearsed. Honestly, and this is just me, I feel like she's feeling guilty and worried for herself,
right?
Primarily, and maybe she should be, because if you gave your child, I have a daughter that's almost 13, right. And I could never, with autism, right, and I could never in a million years ever imagine sending her to sleep with anybody except for her grandmother or her mother. I won't even sleep in the bed with her. She's not biologically my child, and I can, and it's fine, and we have, but I don't.
Right. And I mean, you had intuition. You had a good intuition, and the pictures never came out until after you left of what Stephen Stearns was doing. So everybody, this is Jen Soto's ex-roommate. She lived there, and she moved out right before the picture started on Stephen Stearns' phone. Okay. Now, when you lived there, you had a sense that you didn't have a sense that she was being SA'd, but you had a sense that you were going to leave your door open enough that all three of them were in the room all the time. I mean, you had enough sense, at least intuition, to be like, maybe I should leave my door open so I can, in case,
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that was definitely a bit odd to me, as I was never allowed in my mother's room growing up. Or in any room without permission, and so that struck me as odd, and I just didn't trust him. There was just something about him that I could not trust, and Jen's dad, I would trust that man with anything. Grateful for his service to the country, and he's a great guy. I don't know when he left either, and that's something that I'm very curious about.
Yeah, it'd be good to find out maybe when court and things come, because the pictures happened right after you left and supposedly he left. So hopefully we find out, were you there a solid year or was it within like months? Like, do you?
Well, I was there for, yeah, I was there. So I was there for like 6 months.
Okay, so like
Uh,
half a year.
Yeah, about half a year. I had moved
Yeah.
from Texas back down. I was living in Texas.
Right.
And so I moved back down and got a job offer in Florida. And it was closer to, I didn't have to have a car in Texas. So, and I had met Jen and Juan, and, you know, offered me a place to stay until I got on my feet.
Right.
I was very grateful for.
Yeah, for one, Jen was just,
Jen,
I want you to tell people that haven't heard, did Jen work all the time? Like she couldn't go to her daughter's birthday, or what was she usually doing most of the time? Was she working? What'd she do?
did not work. She did not work a single day that I was there.
Did you hear that, folks? She didn't work a single day in 6 months that she was there.
If she did, it was like an odd job, like maybe doing some dog sitting or doing something for her mother, her mom's company or whatever, but she'd never had a full-time job
Okay.
at all.
So he just kind of hung out around the house with Stefan, because Stefan didn't work at all either, correct?
Correct. He did not work the whole time I was there either. So, and he had very expensive toys. So I always wondered about that, because he had one of those skateboards that, you know, you can like they're electric or whatever. This was 5 years ago. This things were like $3,000. So I'm not sure.
I think his parents support him quite a bit. You said he lived at his parents' house and his room was filthy. Jen came to you or something, said she was gonna go clean it.
Yeah, she came to me and he would not allow her to go to his house because of the state of his bedroom, like she told me. So she was like, whatever, I'm going to go anyways, come on. And so she went and she cleaned it because it was like worse than a college boy dorm.
Right.
So,
and you know what's interesting in one of the interviews, and I'll just take up as much time as I can. I know you're busy. I have your written statement, and then we'll bring you back on. We can do a live or a pre-record. What's interesting is in one of the videos, he says, "Oh yeah, you know, I just went home," like in the middle of his alibi. I went home to kind of clean up. Now, did he ever clean up anything? I mean, was he actually cleaning up anything ever? Or was he?
I did not see him.
You think he was cleaning up a crime scene more than likely?
Absolutely.
All right.
I never saw him clean up a single thing, not one. I clean, you know, I clean up after myself, but no, he didn't do anything.
Okay.
He literally, they stayed in the bedroom, and it was summertime, so the kids were out of school. So they were hanging out together, and then sometimes he would leave, and if he would, I would definitely hang out, you know, with Maddie and Jen. But when he was there, I just, he's a volatile human being. My mind is so blown. Who does this happen to? And in reality, like, it's a lot to process, and it's a little hard sometimes.
Right.
And I can no longer, I've never defended her, but I can't with 100% confidence say that you cannot sit here and tell me that your daughter was having this done to her for this long and you knew nothing. Absolutely not. I don't know what type of mother are you. She was always changing heads.
Always changing what? Changing what?
Meds.
Always changing meds. Okay, so she was on meds a lot. But let me ask you, let me clear this up. Her being on meds, I know a lot of people on meds, and the meds makes them better. They're not just like zombies. So was she just like a zombie all the time and didn't know what was going on, or?
So she wasn't a zombie all the time.
Okay.
And I think where everything failed, and not even failed. We can talk about where everything failed for days.
Right.
But
yeah.
But they kept changing her medications. Now, if anybody knows anything about antidepressants,
yeah, a lot of people do.
It's making worse.
Right.
before you feel better. So I don't know, like they changed her meds a lot. And I'm like, that's a bit extreme.
Right.
And those are they were antipsychotic meds. It's not like, we're not talking about like hydroxyzine, which is, like Benadryl and steroids or whatever. We're talking Depakote and lithium and, things that you have to get your blood levels checked for.
Right. Now, somebody asked, was Jen a doctor shopper? Do you know if she went around to get different meds, or was she really trying to get on the right meds? Do you not know her that much that you just, yeah.
I don't know what happened after I left while I was doing that free clinic that we had spoke about.
Yep. Okay. Free clinic, folks.
Yeah, the clinic for institute. So, but I know that she reached out. I know that she reached out when she got her disability.
Okay, so she did have disability, and she was trying to avoid, so she'd have a job just low enough under the table, I guess. I'm assuming afterwards.
Yes.
You never really saw her work except for maybe with her mom under the table, probably, or something, right?
Yep.
So you guys heard that. You guys heard she didn't work a day. Yeah, she didn't work a day that you were there. Now, did she cook for Maddie, or would you?
They ate a lot of McDonald's.
A lot of McDonald's, folks. And
a lot
yeah.
of McDonald's. And as somebody who doesn't eat McDonald's, no offense to anybody that does, my stomach can't handle it. I thought that was a bit absurd. And so then when he says the McDonald's in the interview, it's just like it's a whole reliving of a situation. And I know that I couldn't have changed anything, but the universe knows that I should have taken that child and just kept her safe. And I can't live with that. I can't live with that guilt.
Well, it didn't happen yet, according to documentation. And, I 110% do not fault you. I am glad that you had a gut feeling before any of this came out. CM, you did say that you left your door open because you had a weird feeling and you didn't trust that guy, and you kind of kept a second eye out, but nobody could have predicted that. And they were sneaky. They waited until you guys left. They waited till you left. Now, Maddie had her own room when you were there, right?
Yeah, Maddie had her own room when I was there. There was no numbers on the door.
Yeah, that's weird. They're calling it a brothel.
Right?
Yeah,
there was no numbers on the door. And the rooms are also, the rooms are so close together, and the walls aren't thick. So so in my head, I try to think about how could this have happened with these people under this roof? And I don't understand it. The math doesn't math, and no one can make it make sense to me.
Right now,
or the rest of the country.
Another thing, the rest of the whole world is like, what the heck? They had a half a bedroom, and I can't understand what that half a bedroom was. Do you understand where they're saying it was? Was it?
So
okay.
From the I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, it's all you.
From the photo that I saw, that was in the living room. That half a bedroom was not there when I was there, because it was Juan. Stefan was not even living there full time. It was Juan, Jen, Maddie, and I. And then Stefan was there a lot of the time.
Okay.
But sometimes he wouldn't be. And now, like now that all this has happened, it makes me wonder, well, what were you doing while you weren't there?
Right.
So there's so many what ifs, and those will haunt me for the rest of my life, because there's only 3 people that know the real story, and one of them may not even know all of it, but I can't say for sure.
Right.
If she does or not. But she knows something, or else you're a real shitty mom.
Right. Exactly.
I was able to tell if there was, excuse my language, dirty, I can bleep that out.
You're good.
I have definitely dealt with trauma. I took psychology classes.
Right.
That was good. I was an undergrad. I was a psych undergraduate, and there's no way that could have happened for that long, and you had no idea or notion. I saw her deteriorate from the person that she was when I first met her,
right,
to what she looks like